This is Calm AF, a podcast for humans who are hard on themselves. A podcast for the overthinkers, people pleasers, perfectionists, and overachievers. I'm Kristen Finch, and I'm going to teach you how to quiet that incessant negative chatter in your head. Because you know what a person with a calm mind can do? Anything they want. Grab your coffee, gorgeous soul, because today's the day you get Calm AF. Hello, gorgeous soul. Welcome to Calm AF. I hope that this day has been a good start for you. I hope the year is off to a good start. So over the weekend, I had my annual, I think we're at like 10th annual goal setting workshop. It's had lots of different names over the years as I kind of change and evolve how I both use this process and how I teach the process. It just changes names all the time. But basically, I have been teaching, this kind of method of setting goals that you actually achieve for about 10 years now. And over the weekend on Sunday, I had my live workshop that was open, obviously, to all of Calm AF Life members, but also other people, were allowed to join in. And it was amazing. We had the best time. I expanded it. So every year I'll offer it for like an hour, and then it turned into a 2-hour workshop. And this year I'm always running over at 2 hours. So we made it into a 3-hour workshop. And guess what? We ran over. And it could have been an 8-hour workshop. We just had the best time. I've already talked to a couple groups in the Calm AF Life program who just said, same thing. 3 hours flew by. It was so affirming and it was such an enjoyable time. So I'm just still kind of riding on the high of that, having that over the weekend. I love doing like live workshops with people. So enjoying the afterglow of that. But I was telling everyone at the beginning of the call, the reason why I chose to wait to do the goal setting workshop until January 14th, which is, 2 weeks after the new year has started. We're supposed to be like 2 weeks into our goals by then, right? Well, I don't know, maybe I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but so there is a thing called Blue Monday. Have you heard of this? Blue Monday is the third Monday of January. And it's called Blue Monday because what they have learned is like by this third Monday of January, the initial excitement, the initial like adrenaline rush, like the excitement of setting goals, the excitement behind our New Year's resolutions have faded, right? The goals that we set with such excitement and enthusiasm have lost their shine. Maybe things have come up. Maybe they see like, oh, I'm going to set these goals for myself and I'm really going to do it this year. And I'm going to work on my body and my mind and I'm going to declutter my house and I'm going to improve my marriage. And they go forward to do all of this and they hit bumps in the road, right? They hit obstacles. They have a bad day. They get sick. They're tired. They have a night that they don't sleep well. So these lofty goals that really we think we're going to achieve this time have somehow, gone off course. The train has the train has come off the tracks. I'm like mixing metaphors. So I decided instead of, starting and having your goals all set, like let's be realistic. Let's know that if this is the pattern that it's so universal that they have a name for it, Blue Monday, let's solve for that problem. Let's start the goals later. Let's start the goals right before we hit that Blue Monday so that when, everybody else is kind of fading out, you're just getting started. You have given yourself rest and recuperation time from, the holidays, that rush and fast pace of the holidays that you haven't really recovered from yet. If you're setting goals on January 1st, by the 14th, we have had some time to get back into the normal swing of things, get back into our routines. And I think it's the perfect time to set goals. And everybody on the call also agreed with that. I set my goals this weekend also. And so I'm feeling really excited. Fresh start on middle of January. And the thing is you can start new goals any day you want. It doesn't have to be a Monday or January 1st or the start of a new year. Just any time you want, you can start. So one of the things that I shared right away at the beginning of our call of the workshop is the way Calm AF goals are taught is from a place of already being enough, right? When you are setting goals for yourself, you want to keep in mind that the goals aren't so that you can be a good person, so you can be a better version of yourself, so you can be a different version of yourself, a more worthy version, a better. The reason why we set goals is to enhance the amazing person that you already are. And I shared with them, listen, if you don't change one single thing about yourself after you've written these goals, if you stay in the same body, in the same marriage, in the same career, with the same amount of money, in the same house, from here until the end of time, you are just as worthy, you are just as enough as if you set these goals and achieve them. Achieving these goals is going to do nothing to increase your worthiness as a human, because your worthiness as a human is already inherent. The reason why we want to set goals and that we achieve is because we want to. It's because I want to enhance what I already have. If I know that who I am is enough, then any changes that I make to myself are just like bonuses. They're just the icing on the cake. And that really is such an important and different perspective to take than what we're used to hearing. Because what we're used to hearing is, you have to be hard on yourself. You can sleep when you're dead, right? Like this just like your whole worthiness depends on whether or not you declutter your house and lose 30 pounds. We are used to hearing this message that in order to be better, we have to change who we are. And it's a mindset that just thrives on self-criticism and this constant pursuit of this version of ourselves that's over there somewhere that we can never actually achieve. And it's exhausting, right? Constantly beating yourself up in order to change who you are will only lead to burnout. And it has led to burnout every single time you've tried it, right? It's not a sustainable strategy. Because think about it. If you are a person who sets goals for yourself and you're like, I have to be really hard on myself, otherwise I won't be motivated to do it. Did it work? Like, are you achieving the goals? Are you the version of yourself that you feel worthy and enough? Or do you constantly feel like there's something else you have to change and then you can be worthy? Once I change this, then I can feel calm. Once I change this, then I can be confident. It is not sustainable and it doesn't work. So here's how I like to describe it. Everybody knows how it feels to work for a person in a job where you are terrified of this person. You know that if you make a mistake, you get yelled at. If you need to ask for help, you are berated, you are shamed. We know leaders who lead from this place of fear. They lead from a place of the only way these people are going to do what they're supposed to do is if they're afraid of me, if they're afraid of making mistakes, if they're afraid of letting me down, if they're afraid of getting in trouble. That is how some people lead. And we all know how that feels. And we know that, it works, right? If I am afraid, if I am terrified that if I do something wrong in my job, I'm going to be shamed in front of the rest of the office, you better believe I am going to be thinking about this all the time. I'm going to be working hard. I'm going to be working 24/7. I'm going to be putting in extra work and going the extra mile. I am going to be doing that. And so there will be some progress, right? Like there will be goals that are achieved. However, what you also know, because you probably have worked for someone like this before, is after a certain point, you can't take it anymore. You can only take the berating and the fear and the constant just stress in your body. You can only take that so long until you burn out, until you are just ready to quit. Like there is not even this, this period of like, okay, I just need to slow down. There's no safety in slowing down when your boss is terrifying and is mean and is going to beat you up. Verbally, hopefully not physically. I don't know. I don't know where you work. But yes, you will get to a point where you are done. It's not going to be, I'm going to just be able to slow down. You're going to be done. That is burnout. This is what we do with our goals too, right? We burn out. So now I want you to think, if you have ever had a person, a boss, a leader, maybe an authority figure in your life who was just so loving and encouraging of you and was open and encouraged maybe failure. And when something went wrong or when you make a mistake or when something isn't right, isn't the way that it's supposed to be, you aren't afraid that this person is going to yell at you or scream and make you feel shame. You know that this person is going to say like, yeah, okay, let's figure it out. Like, let's see what happened. Let's see what went wrong here. And I believe in you. I know that you can do this. I am not worried about your mistakes. We have to make mistakes. Things have to go wrong in order for us to be able to solve problems, right? To get over obstacles. We can't get past obstacles if we don't ever run into them, right? If we're trying to prepare for everything ahead of time. So we know that there is a person in our life that we were willing to work hard for, that we were motivated to work hard for, that we would go the extra mile for, but not because we are afraid of them, because it felt so good to be doing something knowing that you didn't have that fear attached to it, that you weren't afraid of doing something wrong, that you were just accepted, that however you went through the process and however you showed up was encouraged. And if something went wrong, you would be supported, not berated. So we all know how it feels to be in some sort of relationship, a work relationship, whatever, with both types of these people. The ones who are you're afraid of letting them down because they're going to berate you, and the ones who you don't want to let down because you just don't want to let them down because it matters to you to do a good job. So all of the time that you are being your own worst boss, right? Because I know you. I know the people who are listening to this podcast right now. You guys aren't easy on yourself. That's not why you're listening to Calm AF. You're exhausted from how hard on yourself you are. That self-criticism that is just constantly like, well, if you mess up, that means you're not good enough. Oh, you aren't good enough until you reach this goal. Oh, you better try harder. You're just being lazy. Like that inner boss, that's your choice. You are choosing that to be the person that you are working for, that you are listening to. And you do it because you think that's the only way I'm going to stay on track. If I am not hyper-vigilantly moving towards my goals and I am not hyper-vigilantly trying to make sure everything I do is perfect and working hard and working nonstop and don't rest till it's done, if I'm doing that, I know I'm going to burn out. Your brain has convinced you that you can't be motivated through support, that you can't be motivated through kindness or compassion or encouragement. It has to be the hard way. Otherwise, listen, you're just going to drift off into nothingness and you're going to lay on the couch and eat Doritos all day, as one of my clients is convinced. He used to tell me all that all the time. If I am not beating myself up, then I'm definitely going to be just laying on the couch eating Doritos all day. You won't. You won't. That's the all or nothing. That's that hypervigilant, hypovigilant, back and forth reaction that calm AF is the opposite of, right? Calm AF is the place in the middle. It's like, I don't need to be hypervigilant. And if I'm not being hypervigilant, that doesn't mean I have to be hypovigilant. I can be in this place of acceptance. I can be in this place of regulation. That is where this boss that encourages you that, hey, you're doing a great job. You messed up. So what? So what did you learn from it? Tell me what you learned from it. That can also be your inner voice. Do you know this? Do you know if in your real life you have ever been motivated by someone to work hard because you want to, not because you're afraid of them? If you have experienced that works for you and in a much more sustainable way, like you don't burn out from this person, you are allowed to take breaks, you are allowed to slow down, you are allowed to go at your own pace with this boss. If you already know that is possible for you, then think about it. Which boss is the one who's going to take you the whole way, right? Which boss is going to be the one that you listen to that's going to take you from beginning to completion, from setting a goal to achieving a goal? It's the one that you don't burn out with. It's the one that doesn't feel like shit all the time because you're afraid, because you're so hard on yourself. Okay, we have to make the mindset shift, whether it's setting goals or just your inner dialogue. It's not getting you what you want. It's not changing you for the better. It's not keeping you from becoming lazy. Like this inner critic that's so hard on you isn't helping. It's hurting you. Okay, we have to make a mindset shift. We have to break free from the self-sabotaging cycle. We have to motivate ourselves from a different angle because the fear thing isn't working. It only works for little short periods of time. Okay, so we want the boss that is leading from a place of belief and acceptance. So we want to change that inner voice from self-doubt, self-critical, to self-belief and self-acceptance. That is going to motivate you and keep you motivated way longer, and it's going to feel so much better. But you have to do the mindset shift. So let's talk about that, making that switch from self-criticism to embracing the sustainable calm AF energy that actually propels positive change. It's about understanding and internalizing this truth that you don't need to change anything about yourself in order to be worthy. You are worthy right now. So whatever you do from here on out is enhancement. It's bonus. You are already worthy of love, success, and happiness, just as you are in this body, in this marriage, in this work, in this life. So let's talk about it. How do we start making that switch? Well, first you have to unlearn. You have to recognize that this boss that you've been trying to work for in your head sucks. Fire the boss. You have the power to fire the boss. You have the power to decide who is in charge of leading you. And listen, it's not even about like, well, let's try and convince that mean boss. Nope. Fire the boss and hire the self-love, self-acceptance, self-belief, self-trust boss, the one who's going to encourage you instead of berate you. Okay? You want to take a moment to acknowledge that who you are is enough right now. And so I don't need someone like with a gun to my head making me do things because that's the only way I'm going to feel better. You are going to feel better the whole way. Every moment, not just when you achieve the goal, when you're working for the self-trust and self-acceptance boss. You're going to feel it the whole time. You're going to feel okay. You're going to feel motivated. You're going to have energy to reach the goal. You want to shift your focus from perfection-driven goals, and this is truly at the heart of why the self-critic boss sounds the way they sound, right? It's because it thinks that you need to be perfect and that there's only one option. In order for you to feel calm, in order for you to feel confident, you have to achieve this goal perfectly. And it's not realistic. You want to break your big goals that you want to achieve, not that you have to achieve, that you want to achieve, into these tiny little sustainable and doable steps. In the workshop this weekend, what I taught them, part of the process is you take the goal that you are wanting to achieve and you find the habit that's going to help you move towards there. You see where you are now, where you want to be. There's a habit that needs to change or that will help you, if you change it, get to your goal. So you look at that habit and then you break it down. Like, okay, if I was going to make this as easy as possible on myself so I could be encouraging, what would that look like? And it's amazing to me how people are so shocked that they actually make more progress and quicker progress doing it this way. I was like, yeah, because the self-critic, there's too many stops and starts. It's so abrupt. And then you stop after you give up because you just can't take the shame and the berating anymore. Then how long does it take you to recover from that and come all the way back to the place where maybe you're going to try again, but not just a little bit. You're not going to just get to the place in that calm AF, like I'm going to be sustainable. You're going to take it all the way to the place where you're like hypervigilantly ready. So you have a really long lag time while you're in recovery from burnout. With the Calm AF method, right? Like with this way of approaching yourself and your goals, you get rid of that. There's no recovery time because there's nothing to recover from. So you break it down into these tiny little goals and they're sustainable. And every time you do something, you hit the goal, you achieve the habit for the day, you have a win. You already feel how you want to feel before you've even created that external outcome. You have to replace your self-criticism with self-belief, with self-compassion. Just the same way you would want to be led in work by an authority figure, the way you probably lead other people. My hunch here is that if you are a boss, you are not someone who leads people through fear. You are not berating people and shaming them when they make mistakes. And the people that you are in charge of, whether it's people at work or your family or whoever, they're probably not afraid of you and that you're going to explode on them. You're probably the kind of boss that you would want. So be that for yourself. Fire the old boss. They suck and they're not achieving their goals. We don't keep people in business if they don't achieve their goals. They get fired. So you get to just fire them and start with this new boss, the self-love, self-acceptance, self-trust, self-belief boss, the one who is encouraging and motivating you through love and kindness and respect. That will change everything for you when you move from self-criticism to that calm AF energy. All right. Thank you for listening. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope that you take this information and apply it. It's not just something you hear me say, it's something you do. If you need help with it, if you need to learn the process, I get it. We all do. We all need to learn how to start letting go of this familiar way we lead ourselves. I can teach you how to do it inside Calm AF Life. Make sure you are on the wait list so that you know as soon as those doors open. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Love you so much. I'll see you next time. Thanks for listening. And before you go, one more thing. So as you know, I am slightly obsessed with helping as many humans tap into their calm AFness as possible. So if this podcast has helped you, would you please leave a review, make sure you're subscribed, and share it with your friends. Also, make sure you head on over to KristenFinch.com to see how you can work with me. You can sign up for my emails and get any other goodies I have available. Until next week, I love you so much. I am so grateful that you're here. I'll see you next time.